Welcome back to Alpine Garage Sports. You know, I know we're all down right now, but there's actually some pretty positive things that happened in this Oregon State game that we're going to take on to the next couple of games. And we can still go to a bowl game if we just keep these two things from happening. All this and more on this episode of Alpine Garage Sports. All right, so Oregon State, really quickly. Two reasons why we lost Oregon State. You guys know this. Botched play calling in the second quarter, at the end of the quarter where you had 49 seconds left, got the ball back. Run the ball is the game plan. You drain down the time clock. If you can get with 15 to 20 seconds left in the game, a couple of big passes off to the end zone to see if you can score a touchdown, then great. But other than that, you don't give the ball back to Oregon State, right? We know this. Everybody knows this. Inexplicably, we tried to pass it twice. Both times were incompletes, and then we tried to run it up the middle with Dylan Edwards, and that's not going to work. It didn't work all game. Every time we handed it, in fact, I think he had a 1.2 average running. He's a good running back, but he needs a really solid line that can specifically run block and open up holes for him. We can't really do that all that well, so we need our bigger, more physical backs in there during these time frames in order to pick up the tough yardage that we need to keep this time clock running and get first downs. We didn't do any of that. We gave the ball back to OSU. OSU, first of all, we didn't kick it out of bounds. They were able to return it to the 20, and then they scored pretty quickly after that. And really, 100%, this is what I'm saying, cost us the game. Now, the second thing that cost us the game, or another really big factor, is the fact that they had 36 minutes time of possession to our 24 minutes. So they kept the ball out of Shedur's hands, out of our offense, for 12 minutes. We are devastating when we are given time. When we don't have time, when we're trying to hurry, when we have a really ineffective play calling scheme, we end up with a really bad time of possession inequity. And in this case, that's what it was. I mean, OSU kept the ball, they ran the ball, they kept the clock moving, and they kept it away from Shedur. That was the second reason why we lost this game, time of possession. Let's look at the running game real quick, because the reason why the time of possession was so off is we had 11 design running plays versus 39 pass plays. When you're looking at those 11 design run plays, out of the 3 running backs that we had, Savion Wilkerson ran 4 times for a 4.3 yard average. So not bad, but it was only 4 times. So we'll never really know what he was capable of because he was only able to touch the ball 4 times. Then you have Anthony Hankerson, our tried and true, only had 2 carries and he had a 4 yard average. So again, still 4 yards. We can work with 4 yards. If we can pick up 4 yards per carry, that gives Shedur a much shorter field to play with. Dylan Edwards, this is the puzzling part. I don't understand this. Dylan Edwards had most carries. He had 5 carries for 1.2 yards. Now, Dylan Edwards is a great running back. Don't get me wrong. I love Dylan Edwards. And if we get him into some space, there's not a lot of people that can take him down. But we can't run block very well. And we need a more physical back in there to help run after the hit, the first hit. That's what we need, that extra 2 yards after the hit, which unfortunately Dylan Edwards can't give us, but yet we still kept running Dylan Edwards. He is a screen guy right now with the offensive line that we have. As far as I'm concerned, he's a screen guy, he's a slot guy. He has a lot of utility, but being the only running back in the set is not really, and trying to run him up the middle is not really going to happen all that well. So that said, I'm just going to make the point that we need to stick with our bigger running backs in this set and use Dylan Edwards for what Dylan Edwards is good at. Now we've talked about the 2 things that I think lost us this game. Let's talk about the positives that we're going to pull out of this, because we're still trying to win games. I haven't given up. I know that coach and the team hasn't given up. And we still have 3 games left in order to get 2 wins in order to go to a postseason bowl game, which everybody deserves, including all of us fans. We deserve to go to a bowl game. The 2 best opportunities are going to be Arizona and Washington State, obviously. We finish at Utah. That's going to be a really hard game at Utah. So let's focus on these next 2 games and look at the positives that we could carry on there. The first is Charles Kelly has put together a defense, folks. After the debacle that happened at Stanford, we have come back from the ashes. They've made some changes, okay? So they adapted to what we're seeing, and now the defense is playing very well. We came within a touchdown of beating the number 16 team in the country yesterday, guys. I don't know that anybody really is saying that too much, but this was a much closer game than a lot of people anticipated, and it was because of our defense. And the second thing is our penalties. We had 8 penalties for 42 yards, which is awesome. All right. I mean, you're going to have penalties in the game. That's a given. But the fact that they weren't flagrant penalties that cost us 15 yards per penalty, like we had over 100 yards in several games in penalties this year. We had less than 50 yards in penalties. That's a big deal. That gives us a better field to play with and gives us better opportunities. I said there's 2 things, but let's talk about the third thing, which is we are very strong in the fourth quarter. If we had not botched that second quarter series where we gave the ball back to Oregon, we run just a little bit more. Give Charles Kelly the opportunity to really just kill the offense, the opposing offense. We are going to be winning 2 of these next 3 games. So here's some positivity for you. We are not down and out. We are actually in a very good spot. The fact that our defense isn't hemorrhaging yards is just awesome. Like that, I would rather fix the defense first and then go back and tailor the offense a little bit than have to have our offense do everything. So I do think that, keep in mind that Arizona is one of the hottest teams in college football right now. They're flipped to us. We started out hot and got soft. They started out soft and they have gotten really hot. They beat OSU and they also smoked UCLA. So Arizona is on a high, right? And then we have Washington State after that. Washington State is an away game, but Washington State is in a very similar situation to us where they're starting to get soft towards the end of the year, and I think we can take advantage of that. That is a wrap from Alpine Garage Sports. I'm here to tell you, folks, we could still hit this bowl game. We are not down and out. We just need Charles Kelly to do what Charles Kelly is doing, and then we need our 2 OCs to flip the script and let's start making some really, really good decisions on offense and get that time of possession up, and we can win these games. If you haven't already subscribed and become part of the Alpine Army, please do, and we will see you in the next video. And if you haven't already heard, Charles Kelly can call a defense.